I would like now to ask everyone to rise. As is tradition at commencement, we will have a member of our faculty present invocation. Today, Mr. Gould will bring us together at this moment, and before he takes the podium, I would like to say a few words about him. Mr. Gould came to Tilton School in 2002 with some teaching experience, but most of his professional career was in the petrochemical industry as a geologist and an exploration manager. Coming back to New Hampshire, a place he had regularly visited as a child, was a dream of his, and we were more than happy to oblige. For the past 17 years, we have been blessed with his talents in science, but most importantly, his ability to connect with us, both the adults and the students. Mr. Gould is a steady hand and someone all of us rely upon for good advice, a hearty laugh, and an appreciation for the important things in life. I count Dave as a good friend, someone who has mentored me in my headship at Tilton School. And I know that many of my colleagues and the approximately 800 Tilton students that have had Mr. Gould as a teacher feel the same way. Although we will still have his talent as our basketball timer, we will miss him dearly in our classrooms as he is retiring this year. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. David Richard Gould.
We come together on this beautiful spring day at this special place on the hill. Some of us have traveled only a few miles to be here, while others have traveled from halfway around the world. We represent a diversity in nationalities, beliefs, and faith traditions, yet today we are unified to celebrate with these young men and women as they reach a significant milestone in their lives. Graduates, we all join with you on this special day. Together, we honor those from your past who helped guide you to this day, your families, your friends, your teachers, and your mentors. Together, we look to your future success for your lifelong pursuits leading to a purposeful and productive life. But most importantly, together we join you in the exhilaration of living in the present. In the words of the writer and lecturer Dale Carnegie, "Today is life, the only life you are sure of. Make the most of today." I invite all of us to make the most of this day and to celebrate this moment. Please be seated.
Fellow trustees, faculty, staff, alumni, students, parents, and friends, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 174th commencement exercises of Tilton School. The history behind this occasion and the number of students and families that have been part of this is tremendous. It is an honor to be part of this tradition, to be part of our Tilton family, and I hope all of you sense the uniqueness of this moment. This commencement is about these soon-to-be alumni, but we would be remiss in not recognizing all of those people who made today possible. First, our maintenance and our housekeeping departments, led by Mr. Heath and Ms. Hodgman, have gone extraordinary efforts. They've made extraordinary efforts to prepare our campus and also bring us the sunshine. Let's give them a round of applause. I also want to thank my colleagues who have committed themselves and their life's work to teenagers. No matter your specific job, all of us have worked so hard to make today possible. Your efforts have shaped this school and these seniors. Your support, your respect, and challenge have helped move this class to greater heights, and they are prepared for the challenges they will face. I know the students and their families appreciate your effort, your commitment, and all the time and energy that you've put in. Thank you, colleagues. To the class of 2019, you need to know that I am proud of each and every one of you. We have had a tremendous year. Our success has rested squarely on your shoulders. You have inspired all of us and played key roles on our teams, in our plays, in our art studio, and of course, right here on this quad. Your spirit has made us better, and I'm truly thankful for that. You have been an integral part to our work on our academic program. We will continue to focus on our essential skills and personalization, finding unique opportunities for each student to demonstrate their learning in meaningful and quantifiable ways. This work on our mastery approach to education was created and strengthened by your efforts. In our lives today, we are bombarded by challenges that are amplified by the technology we have in our lives. These topics, just to name a few: impeachment, collusion, sex trafficking, gun control, the opioid crisis, etc. I implore you, no matter where you stand on these issues, to be cautious about ignoring them, or even worse, simply becoming numb to them. It is my hope that you have learned how to listen carefully, gather information, and express what you believe. This is essential for the longevity of our great nation. In the words of Thomas Jefferson, in educated citizenry educated citizens are a vital requisite for our survival as a free people. I ask that you remember that. Soon you will be awarded a Tilton diploma, and it is my earnest hope that you will spread what you have learned here and make the world a better place a little bit at a time. That's why we exist. It's the mission of our school to challenge students to embrace and navigate a world marked by diversity and change. I am confident that we have equipped you to do this, and I have high hopes for you, the class of 2019. I'm thankful for your work, and I'm so humbled to be your head of school. Thank you for everything you've done. Congratulations. I was supposed to cry last night. Before we present our student speakers, I am honored to announce a special faculty honor. As all of you know, the commitment to educating teenagers is a tremendous one. You have to possess a multitude of skills, as our duties and areas of influence have no bounds. In addition to the skills, you have to have the endurance, fortitude, and a very healthy sense of humor. You have to have a seriousness of purpose, but not so serious that you can't laugh at yourself and those around you. Tilton School is fortunate to have a tradition of both attracting outstanding educators and producing them. A member of our faculty and staff, Dean Gordon Jeffries, set the standard for the dual role of supporting students and colleagues. Dean Jeffries served at Tilton School from 1952 to 1983, 31 years that indelibly shaped the life of our school and our people. In 1986, an award was created in his honor that was bestowed sporadically, and the inconsistency of this award caught the attention of a member of our alumni body. Mr. Stephen Weiss Tilton School class of 1959 credits Tilton School and especially Dean Jeffries for his growth as a young man. After graduation from Tilton, Mr. Weiss secured 3 degrees in psychology and spent more than 40 years contributing to this field. He recently retired as a tenured professor from the University of Cincinnati and has become more involved in Tilton School. Mr. Weiss provides us with valuable insight as we continue to strengthen what we do with our students every day. In addition to his service at Tilton, Mr. Weiss has graciously decided to support the award that recognizes an outstanding faculty member in honor of Dean Jeffries. The Jeffries Weiss 59 Award for Excellence in Teaching recognizes a Tilton faculty member who demonstrates a commitment to the education and well-being of Tilton School students and colleagues. This prize is to be awarded yearly by its sponsor, Stephen D. Weiss, who was a 1959 honors graduate of Tilton. It is intended to memorialize Dean Jeffries, whose service to Tilton was meritorious and personally significant to Dr. Weiss. Through the generosity of Mr. Weiss, this award includes a $5,000 prize, of which $2,500 is a cash award and $2,500 is earmarked for the awardee's professional development. I'm honored to announce that this year's recipient of the Jeffries Weiss 59 Award is Miss Julie Elizabeth Caldwell.
I just want to say thank you to all of my colleagues who have encouraged me along the way, to all the students that each and every day keep me challenged and help me to grow. And this is an amazing honor, and I thank you for thinking of me. Thank you.
Chen Yu Quina Yuan is a 4-year student from Shanghai, China. Independent, clear, concise, and incredibly well organized, Quina is a serious and driven student who works for nothing less than excellence. She is someone who finds her voice in our small classroom discussions, and she asks questions that stimulate other students in her classes and community. She is intellectually curious and intrigued by living and learning with different cultures. Her actions as a member of our community show us how serious she is about engaging with others. No one here can contest that Quina thrust herself into the life of our school. Her contributions to the field hockey, club hockey, and lacrosse teams, her roles in our musical and theater productions, and her willingness to express her unrestrained enthusiasm for all things Tilton say it all. I know one of her most treasured moments here at school was when you, the student body, selected her to be our president. Next year, Quina will take her talents to Boston University, and please join me in welcoming Quina to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. I was sitting in my room during study hall, freshman year, while serving Amazon. I was determined to find a Patagonia sweatshirt. Before I came to Tilton, I didn't even know the brand Patagonia. But after a couple months in American prep school, I knew it was something that I needed to get in order to fit in. It was almost magical when I first put on my fuzzy purple Patagonia sweatshirt. The moment I walked into the dining hall, I got a compliment from an upperclassman who, up to that point, I've never talked to before. She said, "Hey girl, I really like your sweatshirt." It might have meant nothing to her, but it for sure meant something else for me. I felt acknowledged, like I was slowly becoming part of the crew. And at that moment, I knew what I needed to do in order to feel like that again. I started commenting under other girls' Instagram posts like, "Yes, girls," and adding bruhs after every sentence I say. Bruh. The first few times I did it, I was aware that I was doing it intentionally. But after a while, I started to do it as if it were a habit. I guess I was becoming someone different. Later my freshman year, I was hanging out with some girls in my dorm and talking about the people in our grade. When the focus turned to me, one girl looked at me and said, "You're the most Americanized Chinese I've ever seen." I was beyond happy and started telling myself, yes, people actually like me. I took what she said as a compliment, like I was really fitting in. But over time, I started to question how I felt about that comment. Is the person that people see the real me? Or is it just a persona named Queena who wants to fit into this new community? This question scared me because I worried that I came up to the conclusion like, wow, I just pretended to be a person called Queena. And like most people, I liked the approval, so I stayed as Queena for a while. Last year, my junior year, a good friend of mine from American literature class, Chop, started to call me Chen Yu. A lot of you know me as Queena, but my Chinese name is Chen Yu. It is common for Chinese students to get an American name, so that's what I did. I went on a Chinese American name generator website and got the name Queena. A note to myself, never trust these websites again. Anyways, the way Chop called me by my Chinese name was different. It felt new, but it's ironic since I've been called Chen Yu for my entire life until I came here. Throughout the course of my junior year, more and more people started to call me Chen Yu. I didn't know what it meant to them. Maybe it's just a funny name for them to pronounce, but to me, it meant something else. I felt acceptance from those people who called me Chen Yu. I really liked it. But then there was a really strange feeling that made me ask the question, so am I Queena or Chen Yu? I didn't even want to go by Chen Yu when I first came here, and all of a sudden, I liked it. I was really confused. Being Queena and Chen Yu apparently feels distinctive to me. It almost feels like Queena is someone who I am trying to be, and Chen Yu is just an old version of myself. Being Queena has been great. I have the confidence that I've never had before, and it encourages me to try new things. It's almost like I just completely transformed myself into this new Queena body and became a new person. However, being Queena also means being an overachiever. Having high standards for myself and work hard have become a norm for me. I've always relentlessly tried to achieve a goal so I can check it off my to-do list and move on to the next one. But half of the time, I didn't even know why. Because I got involved into so many different activities, thinking I could master every single one of them, which would make my parents, teachers, friends proud, I was working myself silly. I might have gotten a lot done, but it certainly wasn't the best idea for me to find my own identity. I put myself in a world that was so busy, which didn't allow me to have time to be alone and think. I didn't always understand the purpose of my life. I would second guess myself whenever I achieved something or did something great. I would wonder whether this is the real me or some sort of persona I was worried about. I was lost and frustrated since I wanted to get an answer in order to get some relief. Not until last week, I realized it doesn't matter. I realized all these doubts that I had are all parts of the process of becoming a greater version of myself. I realized that I'm both Queena and Chen Yu. They're both my names, identities, and I shouldn't be ashamed by either of them. Maybe being Queena and Chen Yu are different in certain ways, but I am who I am. But of course, I am still on my way of finding my true self. We were all given an identity when we first born, just like our names. But we have the choice to change these identities, and I'm certainly not talking about changing names here. Instead, I am talking about embracing ourselves and explore our full potentials. Realizing who we are might take some time, but there shouldn't be any pretending, since we should always be proud of who we are. So never stop exploring. From being a bad student who only gets 40 out of 100 on her math test in China to who I am today, I have came a long way, and I have many of you to thank. I don't have time here today to mention everyone, but there are so many special people in our community. Thank you, my parents, for giving me an opportunity to study abroad at Tilton and enabled me to see the world from a whole new perspective. By the way, happy birthday, Ma. Thank you, every one of you, for giving me this opportunity to speak here today. It is and will be my forever honor. Thank you to all of my friends, whether it is for making me laugh on the lunch table, for introducing me to your family and becoming the part of it. They're all something I will appreciate forever. We will be entering the real world soon. While determining who you want to become next year or for the following years, stay true to yourself. If you're not sure who you're becoming, don't be afraid. You're not the only one. I still don't know how am I going to introduce myself next year in college, whether Chenyu or Quina. But I think that's not something I'm worried about. It is more important to keep exploring and taking charge of my own identity, which means I'm going to keep finding who I am and what my real passions are. And I hope you all do the same thing. Let the time, trials, and errors surprise you. Thank you.
Thank you, Queen. For those of us who know our next speaker, Sam, we cannot be but impressed with his journey. This is a young man who, by his own admission, was not exactly focused on the important things during his early years of high school. To his credit, when he made the decision to enroll at Tilton, he dedicated himself to first defining what is important and then following through on his priorities. In these past 2 years, our community has had the benefit of Sam's priorities through his academics and his athletics. I would also advance that we have had the benefit of the evolution of these priorities as an inspiration for our own personal growth. Today, you're going to hear about Sam's journey. It will have many of the same trappings that these seniors share, but it is also unique. And I'm excited for you to hear what he has to share, and also to anticipate what is going to happen at Sam's next school, the University of Alabama. By vote of the senior class, I'm proud to present our next commencement speaker, Samuel Ukaru.
That's good enough for me? All right. Good morning, and thank you. You made me sound like a pretty interesting guy. I appreciate that. All right. So, first off, good morning. First off, before I begin, I'd like to thank my peers for selecting me to be this year's graduation speaker. This is a huge honor. I'm very grateful. So, thank you. Appreciate that. I arrived at Tilton School in the fall of 2017 as a 17-year-old ambitious Raleigh, North Carolina kid, ready to fight for my basketball career. I had dreams of playing at the highest level of college basketball, but unfortunately, things did not work out for me. I hit a huge roadblock, and all the sweat, blood, and tears I put into 15 years of my life all collapsed. This is not a depressing story or unfortunate situation. This is life. This was my first experience of the real world. This is what every human being here will have to face or have already faced at some point in their life. Believe it or not, this is exciting. This is how legends are born. To my coach, the reason I'm here, I appreciate you the most because without you, I would have never developed mental toughness and the strength to withstand people who don't necessarily have your best interests at heart. people who aim to damage your character. Through the last 2 years, you've taught me many lessons that will last a lifetime. I'm forever appreciative. I'll tell a quick story. One night when I was speaking to my father, he always tries to tell me about something he's reading or gives advice about whatever I'm trying to pursue. He spoke to me about Mark Zuckerberg, how he started Facebook. Usually when he tells me stories or something he reads in a newspaper, I tend to zone out of the conversation. no offense, boss. But he told me about how everything starts as an idea. You never fully have a formulated idea of something, and everything comes in bits and pieces, and then finally creates a final product. This is the starting point of any foundation you plan to establish. It all starts with a simple idea. Like my mother always tells me and my siblings, the most successful people on the planet do not have two heads. They have one just like you. They were born just like you. Read books, invest in yourself, take chances, trust your gut, pursue whatever you love, and most importantly, make a difference. One of my favorite authors is Dalai Lama, and you know what his most famous quote is? If you think you're too small to make a difference in the world, try sleeping with a mosquito. I think the seniors know what I'm talking about after the senior trip. All right. But nobody's perfect. We'll make mistakes. We'll face challenges. Do not give up. If you're ever placed in a situation where you have to adapt to something, adapt. Embrace the challenge. Turn yourself into a Mr. Gilpatrick or a Mr. Landrush and fill yourself with all the knowledge you need to overcome that roadblock. Here, on this establishment, Tilton School, I adapted to something I'd never done before. I created a brand, as most of you know, called Hefe Island that started as a joke between me and Marco and Noro, which is his birthday today, by the way. Happy birthday, Marco. And it turned into a movement around school. I was given the confidence by my friends and family to pursue something I never thought I'll be doing in 1 trillion years, music. All this started with his daily studio sessions in Robbie Mundogo's dorm and Corey Eaton's, rapping over and singing over beats Corey and Eric Beckett created from scratch, while Patty Berry hyped me up and made me feel like I was Drake. My friends, who believe me, never gave me many compliments unless I was honestly deserving of one. Told me I was talented and to give music a shot. This support was my motivation to releasing my first tape named First Step. The meaning behind the title is stepping into something new. Being confident about your next step in life. Taking that first step into something new. Those two words, first step, sound so simple, but probably only 5% of people here are willing to take it. Why are people willing to take it or not willing to take it? They fear failure. The fear has two meanings to my peers. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. We will face everything and rise. If this speech is not enough motivation for you, then frame this quote on your wall by Zig Ziglar. We gotta go. Wow. I like how it gets stuck when I have a quote. See how it is, but. All right. People often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does taking showers. That's why we recommend it daily. To my peers, we will not fear change. Tilton has prepared us with all the tools to be successful. Go out there, make a difference. Hefe out.
Thank you, Sam. It is my honor to present this year's faculty commencement speaker, Mr. Sean Doherty. Mr. Doherty graduated from St. Mark's School in 1999 and earned his degree in history from Trinity College in 2004, where he was also a member of the men's ice hockey team. After graduation, he served as a tutor and a teacher at the Wethersfield Historical Society, which propelled him to earn his master's degree in education from the University of New Haven in 2008. It was in 2008 when Mr. Doherty applied to be a history intern at Tilton School. Who also has the talent to connect with such a broad range of people. These attributes have enabled Mr. Doherty to take on greater and greater responsibility in the academic, athletic, and residential life of our school. For this past year, he has ably served as the department chair for social science, the head golf coach, and the assistant varsity ice hockey coach. He lives in Maloney Hall with his wife Tiffany, daughter Ava, and puppy Sophie, who is the rage of campus, Sean. Recently, in the ceremony to hang the championship ice hockey banner, Mr. Doherty began his remarks by saying that he is a man of few words. Anyone who has lunch, see, they're laughing already. Anyone who has lunch or dinner with Mr. Doherty knows this is simply not true. While he may be quiet on the bench or on the course, he loves telling a story around a meal. We've had the benefit of Mr. Doherty's stories for 11 years now, and we will miss him next year when he and his family move to their new home in Kennebunk, Maine. By the vote of the class of 2019, it gives me great pleasure to present our faculty commencement speaker, Mr. Sean Peter Doherty.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, family, friends, loved ones, board members, students, colleagues, and most importantly, the graduates sitting on either side of me. I am humbled and honored that you would give me the opportunity to address you today. I must admit that my first feelings was one of terror and apprehension. Although I generally like to be the center of attention, public speaking has never been a strength of mine. Add to that fear the gravity of this important event, the number of people in attendance, and the expectations that come with such a special occasion. It was a perfect recipe for my trepidation. So I had a choice to make. Do I let my fears and anxieties take over and decline this honor? Or do I do what I tell our students to do on a daily basis? This school challenges its students in a myriad of ways, but most importantly, we ask our students to try new things, take chances, and embrace challenges head on. So in the end, the choice was easy. I knew that I needed to honor the senior selection, and I also needed to be an example of what I talk about in class, in the rink, on the golf course, and in the dorm. The example I wanted to set was simple. Don't talk about it, be about it. In my life, I've always admired and respected people for whom their words and actions align. When creed and deed are one and the same, it equals integrity, sincerity, and conviction. This is much easier said than done, and there will be times in our lives when this is exceptionally hard. When the easy out is appealing and the circumstances challenging, it is in these moments of challenge that not only build character, but reveal it. It is easy to do the right thing when times are good, when people are watching, and the expectations are clear. However, as we already know, life is not always easy. The expectations can be blurry, and there will be times when you will be alone with no one watching. What will you do in moments like these? What choices will you make? What will guide your decisions? How will you respond to adversity and challenges in your life? These ideas are by no means novel. In fact, these basic questions have been pondered and discussed throughout the history of mankind. When I found out that I'd be speaking today, I had many ideas and themes that I wanted to explore, but I kept coming back to the idea that this event is both like the dichotomy of graduation and what it represents captures the desire to say goodbye. It also speaks to the sense of optimism and challenge that is often found in starting something new. These two themes are intrinsically connected. To embark on a new phase in my life, and there are many parallels between my situation and yours. We are both about to leave the hill that was our home for an extended period of time, for something new, something unknown, and unfamiliar. There is a mix of emotions. There's excitement, joy, and a feeling of accomplishment. But there is also sadness, and for some, a sense of fear as we say goodbye to our family and confront new challenges without the familiar support we have grown accustomed to here. I would like to start by reflecting on my time at the Hill, tell a few stories, pose some challenges, and say some goodbyes, all hopefully without becoming too emotional. All that know me know that I like to tell stories, and most can probably see my love of history. These two things are fundamentally connected. We all have stories that we want to tell. And as a historian, I am convinced that our past strongly impacts what we will do in the future. Looking back to our past and the history of our forefathers is a vital skill that will teach us all valuable lessons and inform us of what we should do and things we should avoid. I tell my students every year that the study of history is essentially learning and reflecting. What lessons from history and the collective human experience can make us better people? How can we understand why people do what they do? And what would we do differently if similar circumstances presented themselves? So, as I tend to do when posed with a challenge, I look backwards before I can move forward. I reflect. Is this situation like any that I have encountered before in my life? Have I seen similar things in my study of history? In pondering these questions, I look back at my own high school graduation. And besides graduating, I do not remember what was said. I was so focused on what was next, I didn't take time to listen or relish the moment. I do, however, have a vivid memory of my college graduation. I wondered how I could incorporate anything that was said that day into my speech for you today. The speaker that day was Dr. Ruth Westheimer, and needless to say, she got our attention. I wondered, could I channel my inner Dr. Ruth? I could, but it probably wouldn't go well. What I did remember from her and learn from her was that she had our attention because she was being herself, and she had a message she wanted to share. The historian in me took over, and I was immediately drawn to George Washington and his famous and prophetic farewell address. I am not comparing myself to him. I pale in comparison, but I found some parallels in the circumstances surrounding this famous address that I would like to discuss with you all. George Washington was president for 2 terms, and many believed he could have continued as long as he wished. He was faced with daunting challenges, some domestic, some international, and he worked through all these without precedents to guide him. In his 2 terms, he saw the rise of the first-party system in the U.S. and the international conflict that ensued following the French Revolution and the rise of Napoleon. When Washington chose to step down from his position, it was because he felt the time was right and the country was in a position to succeed. He penned a long address to commemorate this decision, and it's still read aloud in Congress today. In it, he reflected upon his experience and provided advice to the country, such as the dangers of political parties and partisanship. He cautioned the country to avoid being involved in entangling foreign alliances. This advice still rings true today, as our country seems more and more divided along party lines. Similar to Washington, I would like to reflect on my experience, and in the process provide you, the graduates and underclassmen, with some advice as a parting friend. Today marks my 11th commencement at Tilton School. I started as an intern, living in the basement of Pfeiffer, in what was lovingly, if not misleadingly called, the Garden Suite. I had a great mentor my first year in Brian Cook, and he helped me transition from my experience in elementary schools to that of high school. I had gone to boarding school myself, and the memory of me in high school gave me nightmares as the school approached. Would I encounter a student like myself that constantly challenged the patience of the dorm parents, teachers, and coaches? Could they be worse? Well, thankfully, I have not had a student that was as challenging as I was as an adolescent, and the students in large part have surprised me with their maturity, respect, and good nature. That doesn't mean there haven't been some notable exceptions. Like the night Pfeiffer flooded and over 700 gallons of water cascaded out of a broken sink on the first floor at 2 a.m. As I ran upstairs to assess the situation, I was shocked to discover water flowing down the stairs like a waterfall straight towards my apartment. Maintenance was called to shut off the water, and once Jamil and I had finished vacuuming, I thought my night would finally be over. Nope. Basically, as soon as I had laid down, the fire alarm went off. You see, we had turned up the heat so we could dry out the carpet, and the steam triggered the smoke detectors. So as the dorm emptied into the snowy January morning, we discovered quickly we were missing a student. Thankfully, the snow revealed his location. There was a pristine set of footprints leading from the side door of Pfeiffer to Moore Hall. When everyone was accounted for and the fire department gave the okay to re-enter the dorm, I finally went to bed at 6 a.m. As I laid there in bed, I wondered if I could handle many more nights like the one I had just experienced. There were no answers forthcoming that night, but I did learn something valuable from this experience. Move to higher ground. The very next year, the same sink was damaged. Another flood of water cascaded down the stairs and through the ceiling below onto my good friend Brooks McQuaid. I should have told you about the plumbing, I'm sorry. Despite this incident and the challenging first year, I was excited to take on a more important role in the school. I was willing to put my first year behind me because I found what I was doing to be both important and fulfilling. I was part of something bigger than myself, and I felt I could make a positive impact on my students' lives. As the years passed, I grew in my role as a teacher and as a coach. The school supported me and gave me an opportunity to lead and try new things. And as a result, I grew as a person, an educator, a coach, and a leader. As I said, I began my employment as an intern, and since that time I have become a department chair, a grade level leader, faculty representative to the Board of Trustees, a Lakes Region champion, a New England champion, and now commencement speaker. It's been a heck of a run. This is true of your experience as students. You are challenged every day in the classroom, in the dorm, in the theater, and on the playing fields. The belief and trust that the school has in you is evident every day. We, the teachers and staff, know that with a little support, encouragement, and honest dialogue that you will exceed your own expectations. Remember how you started as underclassmen. Look at where you are today. All of you have grown and matured. Some of you have become elected leaders in the school, and some of you lead every day by example in your own way. An example of this can be seen in the capstone projects that were completed this year. Some of you took this opportunity to pursue a passion or a curiosity and jumped in with both feet. I was inspired by your work, your talent, your creativity. It was additional work, but it was meaningful, challenging, and hopefully rewarding. In one particular moment, I was sitting with Corey as he discussed his love of producing and mixing music to the junior class. He was amazing. You could just see the confidence and enthusiasm radiating out of him as he discussed his project with the juniors. There were many other exceptional projects this year, but this example highlights the leadership and passion that happens consistently and makes this such a special place. I have countless examples I could share, however, I would like to change topic and address the new and unknown that graduate and hopefully reward. Has given an inaugural address. The common theme is to reflect on the past and set forth an optimistic agenda for the line. We are all Republicans. We are all Federalists. The theme of hope and challenges for something new is fitting as I will be moving into a different chapter and challenge in my life, and all of you are about to do the same. Whether it's going to college, playing junior hockey, or taking a gap year. As we take these next steps, there's a range of emotions that we will go through. And I want to take that time to challenge you in your next steps to fulfill the mission of the school to live lives of service. John Fitzgerald Kennedy was elected as the 35th President of the United States, and on January 21st, 1961, he gave a famous speech, one of many. His words have been repeated many times and in many different contexts, and I found that they ring true to this occasion and the message that I would like to share with the graduates. President Kennedy gave his speech in the midst of the Cold War, and the tensions were high, and about to get higher with issues in Berlin, the Bay of Pigs invasion, and the near-catastrophic Cuban Missile Crisis. We are not in the midst of the Cold War, but we are in a time where peace is threatened at home and abroad. We have problems in our society that need solutions, and we have issues that divide us, that seem to prevent us from moving forward. As Kennedy advises in his address, so let us begin anew, remembering on both sides that civility is not a sign of weakness, and sincerity is always subject to proof. Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. Let both sides explore what problems unite us instead of belaboring those problems which divide us. This is sound advice both then and now. He goes on to challenge the country, and in so doing he inspires his audience when he says, "Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, though arms we need, not as a call to battle, though embattled we are, but a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in and year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself. Can we forge against these enemies a grand global alliance, North and South, East and West, that can assure a more fruitful life for all mankind? Will you join in that historic effort? In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, faith, and devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man. This message Kennedy champions in his address, one of service, of humanity, of a global community working together for a common good. I am particularly drawn to this challenge for people to take action, to get involved, and to not be a passive spectator. There is a sign in my classroom that states, "Our actions, as well as our inactions, will write our history." As I stated in my opening address, don't talk about it, be about it. Because it is you that will lead our country and our world in the future. And remember that your actions will speak louder than words. So I challenge you all to think about what you can do in your community, your country, and the world to make it a more peaceful, humane, and equitable place. Do not be a spectator, take action, and be agents of positive change. You have in many ways embodied the challenge that I just laid out before you. Many of you have worked with Ms. Caldwell and the community service team and have made an impact in our local community. Some of you have traveled to the Dominican Republic to work with the Bate Foundation to give back to the greater world. And both examples are proof that you have embodied this call to service. The way that you have embraced the differences of each other and bonded as a class, without exclusion or hierarchy, is proof that you care more about what we have in common than what divides us. Take these lessons that you have learned here and bring them with you in your next steps. Be empathetic. Try to understand perspectives that are different than yours. Find common ground. Compromise. Work towards improvement and solutions. To the seniors and graduates, congratulations on your impending graduation. This is a momentous step in your life, and you should be proud of your accomplishments. Enjoy them. Share them with your family, friends, and loved ones. But before you do that, I would like you to take a look around at the people that are sitting next to you. Your classmates have made an indelible impact on your lives. Stay in touch. This seems like an easy thing to do, but as time goes by and life begins to get busy, it can be challenging. Take the time and effort to stay in touch with your friends. The friends I made while in boarding school remain close, and I speak with them often. I hope that you will as well. Back to the dichotomy. Remember that this is the beginning of something new, a challenge, and a new opportunity to learn, grow, and challenge yourself. Set the bar high. One of my favorite authors, F. Scott Fitzgerald, ends his quasi-autobiography, This Side of Paradise, in a very open-ended way that I would like to share with you today. He stretched out his arms to the crystalline, radiant sky. "I know myself," he cried, "but that is all." The line is depressing within the context of the novel's story. It follows the trials and tribulations of the egotistical Amory Blaine as he tries to find his way in the changing world following World War I. There is a nugget of optimism that I would like to mention and comment upon. The search to know what we really want is a lifelong journey. But the internal search to know who we are, what makes us happy, and what we find important and non-negotiable is something that we can discover much earlier in life. And even though this is an evolving process that will take a lifetime, I challenge you to reflect about these fundamental questions. I challenge you to think about what is important to you, what will give your life meaning, and more importantly, purpose. When you find something bigger than yourself to work toward and devote your energies to, your life will be more meaningful. When you live for others, that is when you really start living. Working as a teacher, coach, advisor, and dorm parent for the last 11 years, has shown me the validity of this idea My life is so much richer because my purpose has been my students, and more specifically, how I can equip them in some way to be successful and have a positive impact on the world. So to summarize, my challenge to you is stay in touch, take action, and live a life of purpose. Lastly, I'd like to take this opportunity to say goodbye. In my time here, I've met thousands of people from all over the world. The common bond of this place on the hill, the place, not the buildings, but the people, and the school's mission will remain with me as I take my next steps in life. The relationships and the connections that I made with my students, athletes, and colleagues have impacted my life in so many ways. As Mr. Sleeber referenced last night at the senior dinner, I have learned more from you than you will ever know. And I am blessed that I had a chance to meet all of you and learn from such a diverse group of people. I'm not good at saying goodbyes, and I tend to prefer the Irish version. But as I started this speech, I reflect upon the importance and the honor bestowed to me on this occasion, and the example that I wanted to set. You will be the judge, but I will probably arrive in the middle of these two options. I don't want to forget anybody or single anybody out, so I would like to thank everyone that has helped me these past 11 years I have been at Tilton. Most importantly, I would like to thank my wife and daughter, my friends, colleagues, and most importantly, the students. You have made a deep impact on my life, and I will remember you always. Thank you, I love you, farewell.
Thank you, Sean. From Plymouth, New Hampshire, our final student speaker is Sarah Shartner. During her 4 years at Tilton, Sarah has quietly led by example through her work, her talents, and her enthusiasm in multiple areas. Of all the ways I describe Sarah, I picked the words all in. When she sets her sights on a goal, she chases it in a way that inspires all of those who surround her. In addition to her academic and athletic talents, which include soccer, club hockey, and lacrosse, last week at our prize night, she was awarded the William Harrison Ufelder Award. Next year, Sarah will take her talents to St. Michael's College in Burlington to begin her next chapter. In her role as class president, she will now present the senior gift. Please join me in welcoming Sarah Elizabeth Lewis Shartner.
Hello all. Today I'm here on behalf of our senior class, the class of 2019. Each graduation, the senior class president stands before their classmates, members of the Tilton School community, and families to present the class gift. This year, as we were developing ideas for the class of 2019's gift, I found that a lot of my classmates were developing ideas around community. We wanted a dog park, to resurface the tennis courts into a new basketball court, new paving for the senior walk. There were a plethora of ideas. Previous class gifts have become very special components of our campus, and so it was important that a decision reflected Tilton in the most positive way possible. Last year, the class of 2018 built a fire pit between Maloney Hall and the Fred Andrew Smart Chapel. I remember Maddie Clark, their class president, being adamant about being nights in their last weeks at school, in alumni events, and future school evenings would be spent gathered there. She was not wrong. This idea of community has frequently been centered around the class gift. As our senior year progressed, with each monthly meeting, I realized that the ideas being rattled off all had some overlaps. If achieved, they would be able to add to the close-knit community everyone talks about at Tilton. My fellow classmates and I realized that having community involvement would be a key component and priority in the choosing of our gift. This lawn that we are all gathered on now is much more than grass and a place to walk for graduation. It is a place where all students come on sunny days, just like today, fall and spring, to enjoy evenings filled with volleyball, spike ball, can jam, and anything else you can really put on the lawn. This past week, we finally had a good stretch of weather, and it brought out our black and gold spirit. I have once again witnessed a time just before twilight that is not only beautiful because of the purple clouds that so often pass over the mark, but also for the moments when everyone is together, outside, pushing aside everything and focusing on whether Ida has tipped the net or not. It is these simple moments that matter most to me. This year, through countless efforts of fundraising events, a few standout members of our class have made our gift possible. I would like to take a moment to recognize Peter R. Saliba, Mabel Shao, Blaine Manning, and Queenie Yuan for their amazing contributions to our team, as well as the development staff. It is because of their hard work that we were able to surpass goals set in the fall for our class gift. We wanted to make sure our gift was going somewhere that was important, and so for that reason, part of the class of 2019's gift is a donation to the Tilton Fund. The second part, following the lines of community, our new lawn games, so that all may enjoy our campus and the people that fill it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. I would now like to ask Mr. Landrosh and Mr. McElhaney to assist me in the awarding of diplomas. As we get ready, I want you to know that Tilton School has a tradition of faculty, staff, and trustees awarding a diploma to their family. You're there. Mike, you're here. Dave, why don't you go?
Okay. So seniors, last night, Mr. Saliba shared with you two secrets. 1 and 2. I'm going to share with you the third that he wanted to share with you, but he's just sick of the joke about 3 things. As you hear your name, these folks in front of you with the black robes on, they're going to watch you get up and they're going to watch you move. Every story, every connection that you've made with them will come flashing through their minds, and they will be grabbing this diploma with you as you take it up here. The connections you make with these adults have been incredible, and thank you for them. And we'll start with the birthday boy, Marco Honoro Mengs.
Supposed to be in this?
Yes.
I just ruined the first
It's a hot one. Could Bernice Braden come forward, please? Marta Natalia Arcate Braden. Surasak Bandasak. Caitlin Nicole Bartolini. Padraig Daniel Robert Barry. Jessica Lynn Boucher. Eric Brinier Beckett. Oops. Isabel Grace Benoit. Nikolai Christian Boffinger. Andrew Carmino Bonavita. Here we go. Ashlyn Nicole Brown. Cassandra Elise Caldwell. Kyle Joseph Case. J. Michael Cashman. Heidong Chung in absentia. Casey Daniel Cormier. Amanda Beth Crowley. Owen Joseph Kadire. No, I'm good. Thanks. William L. Cutler. Maggie Jean Duvoy. Ding Shafung Todd Ding. Here we go. Thank you.
Corey Richard Eaton. Sergi Estani Sanchez. Samuel M. Ezekiel. Andrew Michael Frost. Matthew Thomas Gannon. Gao Yingxuan, Yvette Gao. Luis Angel Gonzalez in absentia. Patrick James Guiney. Jack Matthew Haley. Ryan Joseph Harrigan. Morgan Jane Higgins. Jacqueline Rose Hill. Could Trustee Dennis Gaudette come forward? Bridget Ann Hosmer. Jacob M. Ida. Abigail Lee Johnson. Sean Robert Leslie. Matthew Allen Levesque. Lee Yutung Icy Lee. Lee Tzuchi Jackie Lee. Lin Jinhao James Lin. Lu Chenyao Lucy Lu. Ma Minchi Regina Ma. Blaine Elizabeth Manning. Nathaniel Jackson McCarville. John Winslow McCoy. Gage Henry Miller. Ryan James Moran. Lance Takai Morgan. Robbie Singa Mudogu. Jake Michael Nardone. Zoe Elizabeth Nash Boucher. Cassandra Corinne Nevers. Stephanie Sabine Nevers.
Oops. Right there, got another one over there.
Kimberly Diane Parker. Oh, jeez, Kim. Olivia Joy Patterson. Tanawan Premsri. Cameron Jack Ryan. Would Mrs. Saliba please join us up here? And we'll start with Joseph Howard Saliba. Peter Riley Saliba. Sarah Camila Sanchez Delgado. Would Miss Lewis join us? Sarah Elizabeth Lewis Shartner. Anthony Keith Selden. Shao Mei Win, Mabel Shao. Killian Andrew Shea Smith. Brendan Thomas Jostin. Bradley Joseph Smith. Swensen Chi Elisa Sun. Tong Ho Wong, Adrian Tong. Alexis Marie Thomas. Ryan Helene Thompson. Tien Jia Lin, Robin Tien. Annika R. Tulos. Darren Mehmet Turkin. Wang Jingtong, Tommy Wang. Jacob Israel Wepman. Trinity Jean White. James Ryan Wills. Always need dressing, James. John Robert Wernley. Imani Lauren Yvonne Wright. Yuan Chenyu, Quina Yuan. Zhang Chuzi, Emily Zhang. Joe Hong Yi, Charles Joe.
Could I ask everyone to stand? Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you the 2019 Tilton School graduates. Congratulations. Before I ask Ms. Caldwell to come forward, I need to let you know that our faculty will recess first, followed by our newest alumni. As is tradition, our faculty will line up and congratulate the seniors individually along this lawn. Your graduate at the end. Do it at the end. Do it.
We give thanks for we have made, for all of the laughter, tears, for all the times of great tears. Thanks for all who have given of their energy, care, and expertise so that these students can graduate today. Mentors and advisors, for the parents and mentors, friends, for all the people working behind the scenes to make sure that things run smoothly. We give thanks for all of those who have invested in our graduates, encouraging and supporting them as they strive to reach their potential. As this chapter of their lives comes to a close, so a new one begins. In the various paths they choose to pursue, may they in turn invest in others, leading by example sharing of their time, talents, and resources, giving back in appreciation for all they have been given. And may the graduates always remember fondly their time on the Hill. The chimes, the cheers, the triumphs and trials, the late nights and early mornings, lazy Sundays and busy weekdays, the classroom, the dorm, the fields, court, and rink, powder keg, food deliveries, time on the quad, black and gold events, and spirit days. And most of all, the relationships that are the foundation of Tilton School. Amen.
Woo!